Welcome in everyone. This video is going to be the first in a new series on the channel where we go back and look at the rarest, most expensive video games on the consoles throughout the years. We're going to look and see what were the most expensive games back then, and if you had purchased them for the prices listed here, how much money would you have gained or lost on those games? Today's video is going to be a perfect 10-year time capsule while we look at the top 15 rarest Wii games from 2012. Original article that we're going to view is courtesy of price charting. All prices and calculations in this video are going to be done using the price charting averages. If you're going to be checking prices on your own stuff, always make sure to look at the actual data that has been captured by price charts, as well as going to eBay completed listings to get the full story of what your item might be worth. The price charting average is good, but it doesn't tell the whole story a lot of the time, and sometimes it's absolutely awful. Put in the comments below if you know of some Wii games that are way more rare than any that we're going to talk about today. So starting off at number 15 here, we have Kirby's Return to Dreamland. Right underneath it here, you'll see Sudoku Ball Detective, but I think they just put this here as an honorary mention. It wasn't even released in North America, so we're starting with Kirby's Dreamland. This article is sorted by the new price of the games at the time, and Kirby's Return to Dreamland is kind of not fair because it was released October 2011 and this list was written January 2012, so of course new copies of a new game are still expensive, but $43 starts off the list with Kirby's Return to Dreamland. Next up, we have Beyblade Metal Fusion Battle Fortress. Before I looked at this list, I had never even heard of this game on the Wii. I have to assume it's not that rare or expensive these days. At least I've never seen anyone speak about it. The new price at the time was $45 on that one. At number 13, we have one you'll probably all recognize, Super Mario All-Stars Limited Edition. Originally released in December 2010, but reprinted in March 2011, which is why right now on this price at $45, it's definitely still reeling from the reprint. I was around for the original print and I got a copy. I was around for the reprint and I got a copy. Before it was reprinted, it was genuinely hard to get. After it was reprinted, this thing was stored by everyone as the next big collectible, so I'm curious to see what it's gonna look like now in 2022. At number 12, we have Hasbro Family Game Night Fun Pack, factory sealed copy selling for $48 at the time. It looks like it just includes 2 shovelware games, but as you guys know, sometimes the worst games on systems can end up being particularly rare. At number 11, we have Skylanders Spyro's Adventure, new price sitting at $49. Again though, with this one, kind of the same story as the Kirby Dreamland, where this just came out. So obviously a new game is going to be an expensive game. It also looks like it might have been scalped during the 2011 season, which leading into 2012 will lead to even a higher price on price charts, but I'm gonna assume that this game is close to worthless these days. Breaking into the top 10, we have Koro Rinpa Marble Mania, factory sealed copy selling for $50. Not one that I've actually ever heard of on the Wii. I do assume this game actually has some rarity to it. Not that that always translates to price, but you know what I mean. At least it might have some inherent rarity to it. Let me know if any of you guys ever chased after Koro Rinpa Marble Mania. Not one that I'm familiar with at all. At number 9 here, we have one of the most popular games on the list so far, Dokapon Kingdom. Factory sealed was selling for $50 at the time. Used copies of this game were $32. I am of course familiar with Dokapon Kingdom, as I'm pretty sure it's like a top 10 most expensive Wii game these days. It might even be a top 5 most expensive Wii games. This one's gonna be interesting to see just how much it's increased in the past 10 years. At number 8 is Godzilla Unleashed. Factory sealed copies at $55 and used copies at $32. I don't think I've ever come across a used copy of Godzilla Unleashed in my own hunting over the years. Godzilla games have a weird tendency to maintain value and just be valuable in general. We see it now with the Godzilla PS4 game being like one of the most expensive PS4 games. It makes me very curious to see how Godzilla Unleashed has fared over the years. Number 7, we have Walk It Out. Factory sealed copy selling for $60, used for $48. It's an exercise game that's compatible with the Wii Balance Board and the Wii Dance Dance Revolution Dance Mat. I can only assume that that didn't lead to great sales on the game, thus making it hard to find, but this article is actually saying that prices jumped in December and early January of 2012. Demand might have been driven by weight loss and exercise New Year's resolutions, so the spike might only be temporary. That's actually interesting if that's what led to the big pump on a game like Walk It Out. People who genuinely wanted to use it for its intended purpose. Collectors in 2012 are ridiculous. Imagine actually playing the games you buy. Number 6, we have one of my personal favorites. I just always thought this game was such a meme, but it was also so expensive. We have My Horse and Me Riding for Gold. Factory sealed copies were around $70, used price was around $55. Throughout the years, I actually did find one used copy of this game in December 2013, which I paid 65 Canadian dollars for. I'm not sure when I would have sold it, but it looks like I actually sold it for 82 Canadian. So there's the proof for you guys that even as a used Wii game, this game was near the tippy top of the list. You get to groom your horse, ride it, take it to the vet, and compete in shows. Need I say any more as to why this game was expensive? At number 5, we have another one of the really big titles that everyone will be familiar with. Metroid Prime Trilogy, the first release in the Steelbook. I'm pretty sure they called it a collector's edition despite at the time it being the only release of the game. Gotta love Nintendo's marketing gimmicks. Factory sealed price was 95 at the time, used copies were 65. And this game was genuinely expensive and genuinely hard to get. People who had them did not want to sell them, which meant there was just never any supply out there. Obviously not the rarest game on the Wii, but definitely one with some of the most demand. I know the sealed price on this game has climbed quite a bit in 2022. Number 4, we break into one of those games that's just infamous for being rare on the Wii. We have Fritz Chess. Factory sealed copy selling for 110, used copies for 60. Interestingly, this game was originally sold at a budget price of $29.99. Apparently, it's rumored to have only released the game in select markets in the US as a limited release. I've never seen a copy of this game in person, but I'm pretty sure full set Wii collectors still call this one of the rarest on the console. There's a big difference between Fritz Chess and Metroid Prime Trilogy as to how the value is derived. Kind of funny to see them on this list one after the other. At number 3, we have Formula 1 2009, selling sealed for 128 and used for $46. It looks like this might be the only licensed Formula 1 game that was released on the Wii. 2010 and 2011 both went to 360, PS3, and PC only, which of course does help a game to become rare, but it also looks like since this was the only game on the Wii, Formula 1 fans help keep prices high as this is their only chance to race through an F1 season on the Wii. If the price and the demand is being led by people who genuinely want to play the game, that generally does not fare well for the future price of a game. I have to assume the price only went down from here. At number 2, we have one of my favorite games ever made. I played it on the PS2 though. Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3, sealed copy selling for 130, used copy selling for $50. This Wii game right here is the one that I'm probably most familiar with on these old rarity lists. This game wasn't that rare. This game isn't that rare, but at the time it was the best Dragon Ball Z fighting experience that exists. And it held that way for many years throughout the dead years of the Xbox 360 and PS3 releases, where the games coming out simply weren't as good as Tenkaichi 3. Due to that, there was a ton of player demand on this game, which like I just said, can raise prices in the short term, but it's hard for player demand to hold throughout so many years. Awesome game if you've never played it, but I'm pretty sure it is less valuable now than it was in 2012. We'll see though, we'll see. Only one more game to go, and then we'll hit the spreadsheets. And the number 1 most expensive, rarest Wii game of 2012, we have a shout out to every single Patreon who helps support the channel, as well as the YouTube members. I can't do it without you guys. Thank you so much. And if you enjoy the content, hit the like button. It really helps out. And at number 1, we have One Piece Unlimited Adventure. Factory sealed copies selling for $150, used copies even selling for $61. Obviously based off One Piece, published by Bandai Namco, and being an anime game in general, that's usually a pretty good recipe for an expensive game on any console. The sequel, One Piece Unlimited Cruise, didn't even make it to the USA. Because of the poor sales, the game is hard to find at any stores, and fans of anime keep the price of the game very high. Anime fans do not like to sell the stuff they buy. I blame them for expensive game prices. And with that, we have the top 15 most expensive, rarest Wii games of 2012. Now we're gonna swap over to the spreadsheet I made, and we're gonna answer the question, what if you bought all of these games in 2012 at the listed prices, both new and used? Would you have made money or lost money overall? So here is my handy dandy spreadsheet I created. Let's see how some of these games have held up over the past 10 years. Starting with One Piece Unlimited Adventure, you can see 2012, $150 for a sealed one. In 2022, the price chart average for a factory sealed copy is $58.53. The game has gone down by $91 and lost 61% of its value in that time. That's pretty crazy. Let's just go ahead and talk talk about the factory sealed one first, and then we'll talk about the used one. So of the factory sealed games that were presented there, we had 6 games that did actually go up in value in that time. Fritz Chess, Metroid Prime Trilogy, Godzilla Unleashed, I knew Godzilla was gonna do good, Dokapon Kingdom, of course, which is also the biggest gain we have here at $273 more expensive, and a gain of 547%. We also had Mario All-Stars Limited Edition with a very modest gain, and Kirby Return to Dreamland actually has gone up in that time too. On the other side of things, we have all of these games that have lost value. I knew Tenkaichi 3 was gonna go down, but it's only lost about 15% or 20 bucks. That's not so bad. My Horse and Me Riding for Gold also held up a lot better than I thought it has. It's only down 10 bucks on factory sealed copies, which I mean, most games going down over the past 10 years is pretty awful. Just considering inflation and how collecting economy is these days, any game that has gone down over this span of time did pretty damn bad. The biggest loser actually is One Piece Unlimited Adventure, which did lose 61%, and also Walk It Out was the other biggest loser, which maybe the article was right. People must have just been buying it up for that New Year's kick. You can get a new copy now for $26 instead of the $60 that was presented in the article. But the silver lining here, thanks to the massive gain on Dokapon Kingdom, is that had you bought all of these games factory sealed in 2012, you actually would have made $225 or a 20% gain on your money. If we go over to the used side of things, we once again have 6 games that actually gained value in that time. And the only different one is actually Koro Inpa Marble Mania, which gained 57%, which sounds super impressive until you realize it's only a $9 gain. It used to be $16 used, now price chart shows it at $25. And the one game that gained value as a sealed copy, but actually lost value as a complete in box is Mario All-Stars Limited Edition. Lost 29% of its value, or $11.50, which is probably counting both big box and little box, making the number pretty damn sketchy. But that's why I said always make sure to look at the actual data, always make sure to look at actual completed listings if you're looking to price check your items. Out of the used games, the biggest gain by far once again is Dokapon Kingdom, which jumped from $32 up to $206, which is a 545% gain. And the other big gainer is actually Fritz Chess, which jumped from a $60 price tag up to $122. So like I said, Fritz Chess, actually a rare Wii game. And once again, had you bought all of these games used in 2012, you would have made some money. You would have gained 13% on your investment, or a cool $88. Video game investors everywhere popping champagne for those numbers. And last thing here, I did go to the price chart website and grab the current factory sealed most expensive Wii games and the current used most expensive Wii games. The games that still show up on the list that were originally on the 2012 list are Dokapon Kingdom, Metroid Prime Trilogy, and Fritz Chess. That's it. As far as the price charting data goes, none of the other 15 games listed here are still in the top 11 most expensive Wii games in 2022. It's just one of those things to keep in mind if you're collecting PS4 games, PS5 games, Switch games right now. I can almost guarantee you that the 10 most expensive games 5 years from now, 10 years from now, will look drastically different than the 10 most expensive games right now. Put down in the comments below what you think the rarest Wii game is now in 2022. I'm curious if you think it's one of these games shown here, or if you have a different pick altogether. As well, let me know if you want to see more of this series. Hit the like button, subscribe so you do not miss the next video, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.